Alright guys, thanks for tuning in. My name is Josh, and I run the GPU Abuse website and gaming channel. Today we are going to be checking out the latest and greatest Balisong from Bear & Son Cutlery. Right, so here I have the Balisong 7, also known as the B700. To my knowledge, it is their first Zen pin construction that runs off of bearings. Super fast. As far as Balisongs go, this puppy is super smooth. I'm talking no resistance whatsoever. The handles are made out of stone-washed titanium and has this cool geometric style design to it. Take a little close-up here. It's a really beautiful Balisong. Sandwich style construction. You can see that they are slightly rounded off, making it a little bit easier to fan when it's in your hand. Speaking of, it does feel really good in the palm, whether it's in the open or closed position. The pattern also, it's almost as like an indicator because it's different designs from head to toe, so you can really feel where you're at when you're doing that fast-paced flipping. All the screws are made of Torx screws, so if you wanted to disassemble the knife for your general maintenance and cleaning, you're able to do so, as well as if you're not a big fan of the latch, and might I add, this latch is heavy duty. It's very secure when it's in the shut position. When it's open, it hangs freely. If you're not a fan of that, you can remove this latch very easily by unscrewing the screws on each side, or you could just put it on the other side, whatever your preference is. I prefer to keep the latch on there. If anything, I might just put a rubber band down there to hold it straight out. It does lock in both positions, which I'm a fan of. Not very often do I lock it in the open position, but it's nice if you want to put this knife on display because it is a really beautiful knife in my opinion. It has 154 cm steel, American made, so it's corrosion resistant and very durable. Holds the edge extremely well, and since we're talking about that, this knife is no joke. It is incredibly sharp. By far, without a doubt, the sharpest knife that I have ever owned. It has a nice blade length. What were the specs again? That ends in a nice thin swedge to a fine point tip. I mean, really, if you wanted to use this as a knife, you could totally do so. I think I'll continue to use it for flipping though. On one side it shows the Bear Ops logo, and on the other side 154 cm, then it has the B700 Ti for titanium because the titanium stonewashed SW handles. Really nice. Has a good weight to it. I think they said 4.5 ounces, so not too heavy, not too light. If you own the bare bones, it's slightly heavier than that. Nice thick juicy handles. So coming from the cheap Chinese copy knives over here, which range anywhere from $7 to $20, which you can see every single one of these have stripped screws. Every single one of them. Stripped screws, stripped screws, stripped screws, and then finally this is the B400. no no stripped screws. Probably my favorite flipper. It's super lightweight, and as far as progression goes, I've definitely learned the most tricks with this one. But coming from this knife, the B400 to the B700, the B700 is definitely for more advanced flippers, which isn't a bad thing. I could see myself really progressing and learning a lot about Balisong flipping by using this knife here. Just as a little size comparison, you can see that the overall length of the B400 is bigger than the B700. Same deal goes for the thickness. The B400 feels just slightly, ever so slightly thicker. This has an aluminum body, so even though it's bigger, it's a lot lighter. But when you're getting serious into a sport, you're willing to, spend a little bit more money. And this one is more money, but you can tell the quality of it is a lot better. The durability is there. There's virtually no handle play. This is straight out of the box without any adjustment. I've had it for about a week and been mainly flipping with it exclusively. I'm sure if I tighten that down a little bit, there'd be no handle play, but realistically speaking, my personal preference is a slight amount of handle play. So you could see the way that it works. It does have a pretty thick, I don't know what this would technically be called, a rear Zen pin, I don't know, but it sticks out pretty far. So when it goes up, the handle makes contact with it. So you could see that if you really wanted to, you could probably grind that down about halfway, and it'd be a little less prominent. But I personally feel like I would rather learn to use the knife the way it is rather than modifying it in any way, because this is really a beautiful showpiece that works really well. So learn the quirks of the knife, and therefore your knowledge of flipping in general will increase. It's actually really neat. I noticed doing chaplains too, it tends to grip to the finger a little bit where it makes contact with the blade. No big deal. Again, it's something that you can work around and just learn how to do it, learn the quirks, you know what I mean? That's not necessarily a bad thing. Learn how to work around it. Overall, I do feel like this is for advanced flippers. I'm not an advanced flipper, but I'm enjoying using this knife. I'm enjoying flipping it, and I feel like I will progress even more so. So from beginner to a more advanced flipper just by learning how to use this knife alone. The B700 I would recommend to anyone who is taking flipping seriously and wants to buy something in the higher end market. If you do have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comment section. Overall, this knife is beautiful and it performs really, really well. Yeah, I'm actually really excited to use this in the future. Now, one thing I didn't mention is the latch does tend to get in the way sometimes, but if you time out your flip, I tend to time out my flips by beat, if that makes sense. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. If you time it just right, you shouldn't run into that issue where that happens. It will make contact with the blade too. So again, if that's an issue, you can remove the latch and store it away, and yeah, that won't happen no more. So either way, if you guys do have any questions, feel free to let me know. Shout out to Bear & Sons. You made a fantastic knife. You really did. As always, my friends, I appreciate you. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And as always, hope to see you next time. Adios.